The teacher called me and said she had noticed something very disturbing on my daughter's pants. The teacher's voice shook when she called. "Mrs. Luis, I need to see you immediately, alone. Don't tell anyone, not even your husband. I noticed something very disturbing on Angela's pants." My hand froze on my coffee cup. Tuesday morning, the Arizona sun poured through my kitchen window in Scottsdale. I'd just waved goodbye to Angela as Marcus, our driver, pulled away in the Mercedes with the tinted windows. My daughter was safe. She was always safe. "What do you mean?" I whispered. "I can't say over the phone." Miss Juana's voice cracked. "Please, Mrs. Luis, come to the school now. Use the side entrance. This is urgent." The line went dead. I stood in my designer kitchen, surrounded by marble countertops and stainless steel appliances. Everything perfect, everything controlled. We'd chosen the private school carefully, St. Catherine's Academy, $30,000 a year. Small classes, background-checked staff, the tinted Mercedes so Angela could travel safely, privately. My husband, Richard, had insisted on that car. "Privacy is protection," he'd said. "No one can see in. She's completely safe." I grabbed my keys, my heart hammering. Something very disturbing on my daughter's pants. Angela was only 8 years old. What could possibly... Before we continue, please subscribe to our channel and tell us where you're watching from in the comments, and what time you are right now. 20 minutes later, I sat across from Miss Juana in an empty classroom. She slid a sealed plastic bag across the table. Inside were Angela's uniform pants from yesterday. The blood stain on the inside seam made my vision blur. "Mrs. Luis," Miss Juana whispered, glancing at the closed door. "This isn't the first time." I stared at the plastic bag. The blood had dried to a rust-brown color against the gray fabric of Angela's uniform pants. My throat closed. "How long?" My voice didn't sound like mine. Ms. Juana folded her hands on the desk. She was young, maybe 27, with kind eyes that now looked haunted. "I first noticed 3 weeks ago. Angela came back from lunch recess walking strangely, stiff, like it hurt to move. 3 weeks. I'd seen my daughter every single day for 3 weeks and noticed nothing. She said she fell on the playground," Ms. Juana continued. "I asked if she needed the nurse, but she got very quiet, almost scared. She begged me not to call anyone." She paused. "Yesterday, I saw the stain when she reached up to put her books away. Her shirt lifted slightly." The classroom was too bright. Afternoon sunlight streamed through the windows, illuminating children's artwork on the walls. Colorful paintings of families and houses and smiling suns. Everything innocent. Everything normal. "It could be from a fall," I said. The words came automatically. Defense mechanism. "She's active. She climbs things. Maybe she scraped herself and didn't want to worry me." Ms. Juana's expression didn't change. "Mrs. Lewis, I've been teaching for 6 years. I know what playground injuries look like." She leaned forward. "Angela has changed. She used to raise her hand constantly. Now she barely speaks. She flinches when anyone approaches her too quickly. And twice this month, she's cried during pickup time." "Cried?" My chest tightened. "Why didn't you call me before?" "I did call, 4 times. Your housekeeper said you were at your charity luncheons. Your husband's secretary said he was in meetings." The words hit like a slap. I'd been at the Phoenix Country Club, planning the annual gala, choosing floral arrangements, discussing wine pairings, while my daughter was bleeding at school. "She talks to herself now," Ms. Juana said quietly. "During reading time, I hear her whispering. She says things like, 'I won't tell,' and 'it's a secret.'" Ms. Lewis, those aren't the words of a child who fell on the playground. My hands started shaking. I pressed them flat against the desk. You think someone hurt her. I think someone is hurting her. Present tense. The room tilted. I gripped the edge of the desk. Has anything changed at home? New staff? Visitors? Anyone who spends time alone with Angela? I thought of our house in Paradise Valley, the sprawling estate with the pool and the tennis court. Maria, our housekeeper for 12 years. Tomas, our groundskeeper for 8. Marcus, our driver for 5. All vetted, all trusted. No, I said. Nothing's changed. We're very careful about who we allow around Angela. What about the drive to school? Who brings her? Marcus, our driver. He's been with us for years. Richard trusts him completely. Ms. Juana nodded slowly. Does Marcus drive Angela alone? Sometimes. Richard's business partner, Mr. Forrest, occasionally rides along. He lives near the school, so Marcus drops him at his office after. It's convenient. Something flickered across Ms. Juana's face. How often does Mr. Forrest ride with Angela? I don't know. A few times a week? Richard arranges it. They discuss business during the drive. I heard myself making excuses, explaining, justifying. The car has tinted windows, complete privacy. Richard insisted on it for security. Ms. Juana was quiet for a long moment. Outside, children's voices rose in laughter from the playground. Normal sounds. Safe sounds. Mrs. Lewis, I need you to take Angela to a doctor. Today. A pediatrician who can do a full examination. She slid a business card across the desk. This is someone I trust. She's experienced with these situations. These situations. The words hung in the air like poison. You're wrong, I said. My voice shook. Angela is fine. I drove home through Scottsdale traffic in a daze. The business card Miss Wana gave me sat in my purse like a live grenade. Dr. Sarah Chen, pediatric specialist. I wouldn't need it. This was a misunderstanding. Angela was in the pool when I arrived. Her laughter echoed across the backyard as Maria supervised from a lounge chair. My daughter looked perfect. Sun-bronzed skin, pink swimsuit, hair plastered to her head. Nothing wrong, nothing broken. "Mommy!" She waved from the shallow end. "Watch me hold my breath." She ducked underwater. I counted. 8 seconds, 9, 10. She burst up, gasping and grinning. "That's wonderful, sweetie." My voice sounded hollow. "Can you come inside? I want to talk to you." The smile faded from her face. "Why?" "Just girl talk. Nothing serious." She climbed out slowly. Water dripped onto the hot concrete. She wrapped herself in a towel, suddenly small. "Am I in trouble?" "No, baby. Of course not." We sat in her bedroom 20 minutes later. She changed into shorts and a t-shirt, her wet hair leaving damp spots on her shoulders. I sat on her bed, surrounded by stuffed animals and American Girl dolls. Her room was a pink paradise, safe, innocent. "Miss Wana called me today," I said carefully. Angela's entire body went rigid. She stared at her hands. "She said you've been quiet at school lately. Not yourself. Is something bothering you? Is someone being mean to you?" "No." The word came out too fast. "Are you sure? Sometimes kids can be unkind. If there's a bully, we can talk to the principal." "There's no bully, Mom." She picked at a loose thread on her shorts. "Everything's fine." "Miss Wana mentioned you had some scrapes. From falling?" Her fingers froze on the thread. "Yeah, I fell." "Where did you fall, sweetie?" "The playground, on the monkey bars." "That must have hurt." "It didn't hurt that much." I watched her face. She wouldn't look at me. Her jaw was clenched tight, the way Richard's got when he was hiding something. "Angela, if something happened, you can tell me. I'm your mother. I'll always protect you." "Nothing happened." Her voice rose slightly. "I just fell. Why are you asking so many questions?" "Because your teacher found blood on your pants. Because you're whispering secrets to yourself. Because you flinch now when people approach you. I worry about you. That's what moms do." "Well, don't. I'm fine. Can I go back to the pool?" "Not yet. Sit down, please." She sat on the edge of her desk chair, as far from me as possible. Her eyes darted to the door like she was calculating escape routes. "Has anyone at school touched you inappropriately? Anyone who made you uncomfortable?" "No." "Are you sure? Because if a teacher or another student—" "Mom, stop." Her voice cracked. "Nobody did anything. I fell. That's it. Can you please just leave me alone?" Tears welled in her eyes. Real tears, but were they from frustration or fear? Okay, sweetheart. I'm sorry for pushing." She bolted from the room before I could say anything else. Her footsteps thundered down the hallway. A door slammed. I sat alone in her pink bedroom, surrounded by the trappings of childhood innocence. A half-finished puzzle on her desk, a diary with a tiny lock, drawings of horses and rainbows taped to her mirror. My phone buzzed. "Richard." "How was your day?" "Fine." "Yours?" "Long meetings. Forrest and I are finalizing the Denver deal. Should close next week." He sounded energized. "Is Angela around? I promised I'd take her for ice cream tonight." "She's upset. I don't think ice cream is a good idea." "Upset about what?" I almost told him. Almost said the teacher called and there's blood on our daughter's pants and something is very wrong, but the words stuck in my throat. "Just a bad day at school. Some issue with a classmate." "Kids are resilient. She'll be fine by dinner." He paused. "Listen, Forrest might stop by later. We need to review contracts. He'll probably catch a ride with Marcus in the morning too. The usual." The usual. Mr. Forrest in the tinted Mercedes with Angela. Privacy is protection. Actually, Richard, Maybe I should start driving Angela to school myself. Why? That's what we pay Marcus for. I just think it would be nice, mother-daughter time. You hate morning traffic. Besides, you have your committee meetings. Papers rustled on his end. Forrest is here. I need to go. Love you. He hung up. I looked at Angela's diary on the desk. The tiny lock would be easy to break. No, I wouldn't invade her privacy. She said nothing was wrong. She fell. A playground accident. I left her room and went downstairs to start dinner. Everything was fine. We were a normal family in a beautiful house with every advantage money could buy. The lie tasted bitter on my tongue, but I swallowed it anyway. I couldn't sleep that night. At 3 a.m, I stood at Angela's bedroom door, watching her small form under the covers. Her nightlight cast soft shadows across her face. She looked peaceful, innocent. I kept hearing Miss Juana's voice. This isn't the first time. By dawn, I was in the kitchen with my laptop, a notepad, and Angela's school calendar from the refrigerator. I started mapping her routine, every detail, every pattern. Monday through Friday, Marcus left the house with Angela at 7:30. The drive to St. Catharines took 20 minutes. School started at 8. Simple. Safe. Except it wasn't always just Marcus and Angela. I scrolled through my text messages with Richard from the past 2 months. There it was, again and again. Forrest catching a ride with Angela tomorrow. Forrest needs the car in the morning. Marcus will drop him after school run. Forrest riding with A again. Hope that's okay. I'd never questioned it. Gerald Forrest was Richard's business partner for 15 years. They'd built Reynolds Forrest commercial properties from nothing. 3 office buildings in Phoenix, 2 in Tucson, $60 million in assets. Gerald was family. He'd been at our wedding, at Angela's christening, at every birthday party and Christmas dinner. Richard trusted him completely. I pulled up photos on my phone. Gerald at Angela's 7th birthday party, his arm around her shoulders as she blew out candles. Gerald at last year's company picnic, giving her a piggyback ride. Gerald in our living room 2 weeks ago, watching Angela practice piano while Richard and I prepared dinner. Early 50s, maybe 52 now. Silver hair, expensive suits, that warm smile he always had for Angela. How's my favorite girl? He'd say when he saw her. She used to run to him. Now I tried to remember the last time she'd done that. When had she stopped? Maria came into the kitchen at 6. You're up early, Mrs. Luis? Couldn't sleep. I closed my laptop. Maria, when Mr. Forrest rides with Angela to school, do you see them leave? Sometimes. Usually I'm starting the laundry. She poured coffee. Why? Just curious. Does Angela seem happy when he's in the car? Maria paused, the coffee pot suspended mid-air. I don't know. I don't really pay attention. She's usually quiet in the mornings anyway. Quiet. Withdrawn. The same words Miss Juana used. How often does Mr. Forrest ride with her? Maybe 3 times a week? Mr. Luis arranges it. Something about dropping Mr. Forrest at the downtown office. She set down the coffee pot. Is something wrong? No, just wondering about the schedule. I waited until Maria left, then opened my laptop again. I pulled up Richard's calendar that we shared, color-coded blocks of meetings and appointments. I cross-referenced it with Angela's school calendar. The pattern emerged like a nightmare taking shape. Every Tuesday and Thursday for the past 6 weeks, Gerald Forrest rode with Angela to school, always those 2 days, like clockwork. And on Tuesdays and Thursdays, according to Miss Juana's concerns, Angela had been most withdrawn. I grabbed my phone and called Richard's office. 7 a.m. He wouldn't be there yet, but his assistant Michelle started at 6:30. Good morning, Mrs. Luis. Michelle, I have a question about Gerald Forrest's schedule. Where's his office located? Mr. Forrest? He works from the North Scottsdale location, same building as Mr. Luis. My stomach dropped. Not downtown. No, ma'am. He's been in North Scottsdale for 3 years now,
ever since we consolidated. Thank you, Michelle. I hung up and stared at my phone. Gerald's office wasn't downtown. It was 15 minutes north of our house. St. Catherine's Academy was 20 minutes south. Marcus wasn't dropping Gerald at his office after taking Angela to school. He was driving 40 minutes in the wrong direction. I walked outside to the circular driveway where the Mercedes sat, black paint gleaming in the early sun, tinted windows so dark you couldn't see inside even standing right next to it. Privacy is protection, Richard had said when he bought it. No one can see in. Angela is completely safe from prying eyes. I pressed my hand against the cool glass, completely opaque. Someone could be screaming inside this car, and no one outside would know. The tinted windows didn't protect Angela from the world. They protected whoever was inside from being seen. I thought about the back seat, spacious, leather, soundproof with the windows up, and those 40 extra minutes of drive time. 20 minutes south to school, then 40 minutes north to Gerald's actual office. An hour alone in a car where no one could see inside. Marcus drove. He faced forward, separated by the partition Richard had installed for privacy. The back seat was its own world, invisible to everyone outside, invisible to the driver. My legs felt weak. I leaned against the car. "Mommy?" I spun around. Angela stood in the doorway in her pajamas, clutching her stuffed rabbit. "What are you doing?" she asked. "Just checking the car, sweetie. Go get ready for school." "Is Mr. Forrest riding with us today?" The question hung in the morning air. Her voice was flat, empty. "I don't know." "Why?" She looked down at her rabbit. "No reason." "Angela, do you like when Mr. Forrest rides with you?" Her small fingers tightened on the stuffed animal. "I have to get ready for school." She disappeared inside. I stood alone in the driveway, staring at the black Mercedes with its tinted windows. Richard's pride and joy, his symbol of success and security. A prison on wheels. I waited until Richard left for his morning meeting, until Marcus drove Angela to school, until Maria went to the grocery store. Then I went to Richard's home office and locked the door behind me. The car records sat in the bottom drawer of his filing cabinet. Richard kept meticulous logs of everything: maintenance schedules, mileage reports, fuel receipts. He documented the Mercedes like it was a business asset. Because it was. He'd written it off as a company vehicle. I spread the mileage logs across his desk. 3 months of daily entries. Marcus recorded every trip, every mile, every destination. Richard reviewed them monthly and signed off. School run, 7:30 departure. Angela drop-off, St. Catherine's Academy. The entries were consistent, except the mileage wasn't. St. Catherine's was 20 miles from our house. Round trip should be 40 miles. But on Tuesdays and Thursdays, the entries showed 60 to 70 miles, sometimes more. Extra 20 to 30 miles, unaccounted for. I checked the dates against my notes. Every Tuesday and Thursday that Gerald Forrest rode with Angela, the mileage spiked. My hands shook as I flipped through the pages. The pattern went back months, since February. 20 weeks of excessive mileage on the days Gerald Forrest rode alone with my daughter in the back seat. 20 weeks. I grabbed Richard's laptop from the desk. I knew his password, our anniversary. The computer unlocked, and I navigated to the cloud storage where he kept everything. Vehicle files, Mercedes folder. My breath caught. Dash cam footage. Richard had installed cameras last year after someone keyed his car at a restaurant. Front-facing camera and rear-facing camera. I'd forgotten about them. The files were organized by date. Hundreds of videos automatically uploaded and stored. I scrolled to last Tuesday, 1 week ago. Morning commute folder. I clicked on the rear camera file.
The video opened. Interior view of the back seat. Empty at first, as Marcus started the engine. Then Angela appeared, climbing in with her backpack. She sat on the far right side, pressing herself against the door. Gerald Forrest got in after her. He closed the door, and the car pulled away from our house. I turned up the volume on the laptop. "Good morning, Angela," Gerald said. His voice was cheerful, friendly. "Ready for school?" Angela nodded but didn't speak. She stared out the window. "Cat got your tongue today?" Gerald moved closer to her on the seat. Not touching, but closer. "You're awfully quiet." "I'm tired," Angela whispered. "Well, we'll wake you up." He smiled. "We have a little time before school." The car turned left instead of right, away from St. Catherine's. I watched Angela's reflection in the window. Her body went rigid. "Where are we going?" Her voice was barely audible. "Just a quick stop, our usual spot. Marcus knows the way." The car drove for 10 minutes. Side streets. Residential areas. Finally pulling into what looked like an empty parking lot behind a closed shopping center. Marcus's voice came through the speaker. 20 minutes, Mr. Forrest?" "That should work. Privacy screen, please." A dark partition rose between the front and back seats. Mechanical whir, then silence. Gerald's hand moved to Angela's knee. "No, I don't want to." "Shh, you know the rules. Good girls don't tell. Good girls get rewards." I slammed the laptop shut. My stomach heaved and I barely made it to Richard's private bathroom before I vomited, again and again, until there was nothing left. I sat on the cold tile floor, shaking. The image of Gerald's hand on Angela's knee burned into my brain, her small voice saying, "Please, I don't want to." How many times? 20 weeks of Tuesday and Thursday rides? 40 times, maybe more. I forced myself to stand, splashed water on my face, looked at my reflection in the mirror. My face was white, eyes hollow. I went back to the laptop and opened it again. I needed to see the rest. I needed to know everything. But I couldn't click play. My finger hovered over the mouse. The video was paused on the frame where Gerald's hand rested on Angela's leg. Her face turned away from him toward the window, her small hands clenched into fists. I forwarded through the video, couldn't watch but needed to see. The timestamps showed 18 minutes before the partition lowered again. 18 minutes in that parking lot. When the partition finally dropped, Angela was crying silently. Gerald was straightening his tie. He handed her a tissue. "Dry your eyes before we get to school," he said calmly. "Remember what happens to little girls who tell secrets." The car pulled out of the parking lot and headed towards St. Catherine's. I checked the file directory. Dozens of videos, every Tuesday and Thursday for months. All the same pattern, all the same parking lot, all the same monster. I downloaded everything to a flash drive. My hands moved on autopilot while my mind screamed. Every file, every date, every piece of evidence. When it finished, I sat at Richard's desk, holding the flash drive. This tiny piece of plastic contained proof that our daughter had been violated repeatedly in the car her father bought to keep her safe, by the man her father trusted most in the world. My phone buzzed, text from Richard. "Forrest riding home with Angela today, running late at the office. Can you make sure Maria has dinner ready by 7? I stared at the message. He had no idea, no clue that his business partner was a predator, that his daughter was suffering, that every Tuesday and Thursday morning he sent Angela into hell. I replied with shaking fingers. "No, I will pick up Angela myself today. We need to talk tonight." Then I called Miss Joanna. "I need that doctor's number, and I need you to keep Angela at school until I get there. Don't let anyone else pick her up. Not Marcus, not Mr. Forrest, no one." "Mrs. Lewis, what happened?" "You were right. About everything. I have proof." Richard came home at 6:30. I heard his car in the driveway, the familiar beep as he locked it, his footsteps in the foyer, keys dropping into the bowl on the hall table. I sat in his office with the door open, waiting. The flash drive felt heavy in my pocket. "Caroline? Where's Angela?" He appeared in the doorway, loosening his tie. "Marcus said you picked her up yourself. Everything okay?" "She's upstairs. We need to talk." His expression shifted, concern mixed with irritation. "About what? I have calls to return before dinner." "Sit down, Richard." Something in my voice made him pause. He sat in the leather chair across from the desk. "What's going on?" I had rehearsed this moment all afternoon, while Angela sat with Dr. Chen, while the doctor did the examination that confirmed everything, while I held my daughter's hand and died inside. But now, facing Richard, the words stuck in my throat. "I have concerns about the school run, about the arrangement with Marcus in the car." Richard frowned. "What kind of concerns?" "Angela has been withdrawn lately. Her teacher noticed. I'm wondering if maybe the routine needs to change." "Withdrawn how?" "Quiet. Anxious. Not herself." I kept my voice steady. "I think something about the morning drive is upsetting her." "The drive?" He looked genuinely confused. "She sits in a luxury car for 20 minutes. What's upsetting about that?" "Maybe the distance. Maybe she'd be more comfortable if I drove her. More mother-daughter time." Richard leaned back in his chair. "Caroline, you hate morning traffic. You've said so 100 times. And you have your committee meetings, the charity board. You can't just drop everything to play chauffeur." "It's not playing chauffeur, it's our daughter." "Our daughter who has a perfectly good driver taking her to school in a perfectly safe car." He checked his watch. "Is this really what you needed to discuss? I have the Denver contracts to review." "Richard, I'm serious. Something isn't right with Angela." "Kids go through phases. She's 8. Maybe she's tired of school. Maybe she had an argument with a friend." He stood. "If you're that worried, take her to a therapist, but changing the car situation because she's in a mood seems excessive." "It's not a mood. Her teacher called me. There are signs." "Signs of what? That our daughter is a normal kid who has normal ups and downs." His voice took on an edge. "Caroline, with all due respect, you're home all day. Maybe if you paid more attention instead of spending hours at the country club, you'd know what's actually going on with her." The words hit like a punch. "That's not fair." "Isn't it? You have Maria here. You have Marcus. You have every advantage. But the moment Angela seems a little off, you want to upend the entire routine?" He moved toward the door. "The answer is no. Marcus keeps driving her. End of discussion." "What about Gerald?" Richard stopped. "What about him?" "He rides with Angela several times a week. Maybe that's what's bothering her." "Gerald?" Richard actually laughed. "Gerald adores Angela. He's known her since she was born. Why would that bother her?" "I don't know. I'm just trying to understand why she's changed." "She hasn't changed. You're being paranoid." He rubbed his temples. "Look, I know you worry. It's what mothers do. But Gerald is family. He'd never do anything to make Angela uncomfortable." "How do you know?" "Because I've known him for 15 years. We built a business together. He's been in our home countless times. He's one of the most decent men I know." Richard's voice hardened. "I trust him with my life, with my family. And frankly, I'm insulted that you're even suggesting something is wrong." "I'm not suggesting anything. I'm just saying maybe we should ask Angela how she feels about it." "She's 8 years old. She doesn't get to dictate business arrangements because she's in a bad mood." He checked his phone. "Gerald is coming by in an hour. We're finalizing the Denver deal. If you have a problem with that, I suggest you get over it." "Richard, please, just listen to me." "I am listening. And what I'm hearing is my wife creating drama over nothing. Angela is fine, the car situation is fine, Gerald is fine, everything is fine.
He looked at me with something close to pity. Maybe you're the one who needs to see someone. All this anxiety can't be healthy. He walked out. I sat alone in his office, the flash drive still in my pocket. The evidence of his best friend raping our daughter, right feet away from him. And he'd called me paranoid. I'd tried to ease him into it, to let him see the problem gradually, to protect him from the full horror all at once. But there was no gradual way to tell a man that his trust had been weaponized against his own child. I heard Richard in the living room, laughing at something on TV. Normal sounds. Normal evening. In his mind, everything was fine. His business was thriving, his family was safe, his best friend was coming over to finalize a deal. Gerald Forrest would walk through our door in less than an hour. He'd shake Richard's hand, accept a drink, sit on our couch, maybe ruffle Angela's hair if he saw her. "How's my favorite girl?" And Richard would see nothing wrong. I pulled the flash drive from my pocket and stared at it. Hours of footage. Months of abuse. Irrefutable proof. Richard wouldn't believe me if I just told him. He'd made that clear. His loyalty to Gerald ran too deep. 15 years of partnership, of friendship, of trust. I'd have to show him, make him watch what Gerald did to Angela in the back of that car, force him to see the truth he was so determined to deny. But not tonight. Not with Gerald coming over. Not until I had Angela somewhere safe. I stood and locked the flash drive in Richard's desk drawer. Then I went upstairs to my daughter's room. She was sitting on her bed, still in the clothes I dressed her in this morning. She hadn't moved since we got home from Dr. Chen's office. "Hey, baby," I said softly. She looked up at me with empty eyes. "Is Daddy mad?" "No, sweetie, why would he be mad? I heard you talking. You were talking about me." I sat beside her and pulled her close. She was so small, so breakable. "My daddy's not mad. Nobody's mad at you. You didn't do anything wrong." She started crying. Silent tears that broke my heart. "Mr. Forrest said if I told, everyone would be mad. He said I would ruin everything." My arms tightened around her. "Mr. Forrest lied. You're so brave for telling the truth. Is he coming over tonight?" "Yes, but you don't have to see him. You can stay in your room with the door locked. I promise." She started crying, silent tears that broke my heart. "I don't want him in our house anymore, Mommy. Please don't let him come." "Soon, baby. Very soon, he'll never come here again. I promise you." But downstairs, the doorbell rang. Gerald's voice carried up the stairs, warm and friendly. "Richard, good to see you. Is that beautiful daughter of yours around? I brought her something." I locked Angela's bedroom door and turned off the overhead light. Just her nightlight glowing soft pink in the corner. Downstairs, I could hear Richard and Gerald laughing. Ice clinking in glasses, business talk drifting up through the vents. Angela sat on her bed, knees pulled to her chest. She'd stopped crying, but her eyes were red and swollen. "Baby, I need you to help me understand what's been happening," I said, sitting beside her. "I know it's hard. I know you're scared, but I have to know the truth so I can protect you. You said I didn't have to talk about it anymore. The doctor already asked questions." "I know, but this is different. This is just us, Mommy and Angela. Nobody else will ever hear what you tell me unless you want them to." I took her small hand in mine. "And I promise, no matter what you say, I will never be angry at you. Never." She looked at me with those huge brown eyes, 8 years old and already carrying burdens no child should know. "When did things change with Mr. Forrest?" I asked softly. "February, right after my birthday party." Her voice was barely a whisper. "He said he wanted to spend special time with me, private time, just for us." February. 5 months ago. 5 months of Tuesday and Thursday mornings while I planned charity galas and had lunch with friends. What happened during that special time? We were in the car, Marcus was driving me to school and Mr. Forrest got in. He said he had something to show me. She picked at her blanket. We didn't go straight to school. We went to a parking lot. He called it our special place. The parking lot behind the old shopping center? She nodded. He made Marcus put up the black screen so Marcus couldn't see us. Then he said we had important grown-up business to take care of. My stomach twisted. Did Mr. Forrest do things that made you feel scared or uncomfortable? She nodded, tears spilling down her cheeks. He said what we were doing was normal, that it happens in lots of families, but nobody talks about it because it's private. But it didn't feel right, Mommy. It felt bad. And I wanted it to stop, but I was too scared to say anything. I pulled her into my arms, holding her while she sobbed. Downstairs, Gerald's laugh echoed through the house. That same warm laugh he'd had at birthday parties and Christmas dinners. The laugh of a family friend. A wolf in sheep's clothing. When did things happen every time he rode in the car with you? I asked when her crying quieted. Every Tuesday and Thursday. He said it was our routine that nobody else could know about. She wiped her nose on her sleeve. Sometimes we'd stop for a little while, sometimes longer. It depended on his schedule. Did Marcus know what was happening? No, the screen was always up, and Mr. Forrest made me promise never to tell Marcus or anyone else. He said Marcus would get in trouble if anyone found out. He said it would be my fault if Marcus lost his job. Nothing is your fault, Angela. Nothing. I stroked her hair. What happened after you got to school? He always gave me candy or a small toy, things from his pocket. He said they were rewards for keeping our secret. And he said, if I ever told anyone what happened in the car, something terrible would happen to our family. He said he knew dangerous people, that he could make sure we all got hurt. Oh, baby. I believed him, Mommy. He seemed so kind all the other times. At our house and at parties, he was always smiling and nice. So I thought maybe what happened in the car was something I just had to accept. Maybe it was something all children go through, but nobody mentions. My heart shattered. It's not something you should ever have to accept. What he did was wrong, completely wrong, and you're so incredibly brave for telling me. Are you going to tell Daddy? I hesitated. Downstairs, Richard's voice called out something about contracts. Gerald responded, 2 friends doing business. 2 men who trusted each other completely. Yes, I am going to tell Daddy everything. He won't believe you. Mr. Forrest said Daddy considers him like a brother. He said Daddy would take his side if I ever spoke up. The words cut deeper than anything else, because part of me feared she was right. I'd seen Richard's reaction earlier, his instant defense of Gerald, his dismissal of my concerns. Daddy will believe the truth, I said, trying to convince myself as much as her. I have proof. I found recordings from the car camera. Angela's eyes went wide with alarm. There are recordings? Yes, baby. Your father installed cameras in the car for security. He didn't know what they were capturing, but they recorded what happened. Everything? You mean there's evidence? Yes, evidence that proves you're telling the truth. She buried her face in my chest, her whole body shaking. I don't want other people to see. Please, Mommy, it's too humiliating. I know, sweetheart, I know, but we need that evidence to make sure Mr. Forrest never does this to you again, or to any other child. There might be other children? The question hung in the air. I hadn't considered that possibility, but someone capable of betraying our trust so completely wouldn't limit himself to one victim. I don't know, I said honestly, but we're going to make sure he can't continue this behavior ever. Angela pulled back and looked at me. Promise? I promise. Even if Daddy doesn't believe us? Even then. I will protect you no matter what it costs. No matter who I have to stand up against, you are my daughter. And nothing is more important than keeping you safe. She wrapped her arms around my neck and held on tight. I was so frightened to tell you. I thought you'd be disappointed in me, that you'd think I should have stopped it somehow. You are not responsible for any of this. You are perfect and brave and strong. And I'm so sorry I didn't notice what was happening sooner. I should have seen the signs. I should have protected you better. You couldn't have known. He was very careful about hiding everything, and he told me that mothers never believed their children in situations like this. He said even if I spoke up, you'd think I was making up stories. I held her closer, fury burning through the grief. Gerald Forrest had planned every detail: the tinted windows, the partition, the threats, the manipulation, the careful psychological control to keep an 8-year-old silent while he betrayed our trust twice a week for 5 months. Downstairs, his voice carried up again. Richard, this partnership has been the best decision I ever made. You and your family mean everything to me. I felt Angela tense in my arms. It's okay, I whispered. He can't reach you anymore. I won't let him anywhere near you ever again. But even as I said it, I heard Richard laugh at something Gerald said. Heard him pour another drink. 2 friends celebrating a successful business deal. One of them had no idea that his trusted partner had spent the last 5 months betraying his family in the worst possible way. And I had to find a way to make him understand the truth despite 15 years of friendship and partnership.
I called Gerald's office the next morning while Richard was in the shower. His secretary answered on the second ring. This is Caroline Lewis. I need to schedule a meeting with Mr. Forrest today. Alone. Tell him it's about a surprise for Richard's birthday. A business gift I want his input on. Of course, Mrs. Lewis. He has an opening at 2 o'clock? Perfect. I'll come to his office. Actually, he suggested meeting at your home, if that works better. He said he's in your neighborhood this afternoon anyway. My skin crawled. Of course he wanted to come to my house, where Angela might be. No, his office, 2 o'clock. I hung up before she could respond. Richard left for work at 8. Angela stayed home from school. I'd told Richard she had a stomach bug. He'd barely looked up from his phone. At 1:30, I dropped Angela at Maria's sister's house across town. Somewhere Gerald didn't know about. Somewhere safe. I'll be back in 2 hours, I told Maria's sister, Rosa. Don't open the door for anyone. Don't answer calls from numbers you don't recognize. Rosa looked frightened, but nodded. Is Angela in danger? Not anymore, but I need to make sure it stays that way. I drove to Gerald's office in North Scottsdale, 15-story glass building. Reynolds Forest Commercial Properties occupied the entire 10th floor. I'd been there for holiday parties, company dinners, always smiling, always playing the supportive wife. The flash drive sat in my purse like a loaded gun. Gerald's office was a corner suite with floor-to-ceiling windows overlooking Camelback Mountain. Leather furniture, mahogany desk, photos of him with Richard at various business events. One photo showed him holding Angela at her 6th birthday party. She was laughing in the picture. Before February. Before everything. Caroline? He stood when his secretary showed me in. That warm smile. Silver hair perfectly styled. Expensive suit. This is a wonderful surprise. Please, sit. I didn't sit. I closed the door and locked it. His smile faltered slightly. Is everything all right? No, Gerald, everything is not all right. I pulled the flash drive from my purse and set it on his desk. What's this? He looked genuinely confused. Good actor. Yes, you do. I opened my purse again and pulled out the printed mileage logs. Threw them on his desk. 60 to 70 miles every time you rode with Angela. 20 to 30 extra miles that don't make sense unless you're making stops, like at the parking lot behind the closed shopping center on Shea Boulevard. Caroline, this is...
Dr. Chen examined Angela yesterday. Physical evidence of repeated trauma. Tearing, scarring. She documented everything. Angela told me what you did, where you did it, how many times, the threats you made, the bribes, all of it. Gerald sat down slowly. His hand trembled as he reached for the flash drive. Don't touch it, I snapped. That's evidence. I have 3 copies. One with my lawyer, one with Dr. Chen, one in a safety deposit box. You haven't gone to the police. It wasn't a question. His mind was calculating, looking for exits. Not yet. I wanted to look you in the eye first. I wanted to see if you'd deny it to my face after what you did to my daughter. He was quiet for a long moment. Then something shifted in his expression. The warm, family friend mask slipped away. What remained was cold, calculating. What do you want, Caroline? Money? I can transfer funds today. Offshore accounts. Untraceable. Name your price. You think I want money? Everyone wants something, Caroline. That's how the world works. He leaned back in his chair. You're smart enough to know that going public destroys everyone. Richard's business reputation, your social standing, Angela's privacy, her name in court documents, forever. Is that what you want for her? I want you to rot in prison. Prison? He actually smiled. With my lawyers? Please. It would be my word against a confused 8-year-old's. Children make up stories. Everyone knows that. And Richard will testify to my character. So will dozens of business associates, church members, community leaders. He spread his hands. Who do you think a jury will believe? They'll believe the videos. Videos from a car where nothing can be clearly seen through tinted windows. Videos that show me sitting next to Angela during a car ride. He shook his head. Your lawyer already told you how weak that evidence is. That's why you're here, instead of the police station. He was right. I'd consulted with an attorney that morning. She'd said the case was complicated, that prosecuting would be difficult, that Angela would have to testify, that defense lawyers would tear her apart on the stand. You're a monster, I whispered. I'm a man who made sure a lonely little girl felt special, who gave her attention her workaholic father and socialite mother were too busy to provide. His voice turned venomous. Where were you every Tuesday and Thursday morning, Caroline? At the country club, getting your nails done? You weren't protecting Angela. You were too busy living your comfortable life. I slapped him. Hard. My hand connected with his face, and his head snapped to the side. He touched his cheek, then looked at me with pure hatred. That was stupid. Stay away from my daughter. Stay away from our family. If you ever come near Angela again, I don't care about evidence or trials or reputations. I will kill you myself. Threatening me now, in my own office? He straightened his tie. I could call security, have you arrested for assault. Do it, please. Let's get the police involved right now. Let's have this conversation officially, with Angela's medical records, with the dashcam footage, with the mileage logs. Let's see how your reputation handles that. Gerald's jaw clenched. You have no idea what you're starting. Richard and I built an empire together. You think he'll choose you over me, over our business? He'll divorce you, take Angela, use every lawyer and every dollar to destroy you in court. Then that's what he'll do. But you will never touch my daughter again. I turned toward the door. Caroline, his voice stopped me. If you pursue this, I'll make sure everyone knows Angela is damaged goods. I'll tell the private school, her future schools, every parent in your social circle. She'll be the girl who was molested. That's all she'll ever be. Is that what you want for her? I looked back at him. This man who'd eaten at our table, who'd held my daughter at her christening, who Richard trusted more than anyone in the world. You just confessed, I said quietly. I've been recording this entire conversation. I pulled my phone from my pocket and stopped the recording. His face went white. Damaged goods. Monster. You just confirmed everything, and now I have you admitting it in your own words. I unlocked the door and walked out. Behind me, I heard him stand, heard something crash against the wall, his voice shouting my name. But I was already gone. The recording safely uploading to the cloud. 3 more copies already made. Gerald Forrest had just destroyed himself. And now I had to go home and destroy my husband's world by showing him the truth about his best friend.
Richard came home at 7. I heard his car in the driveway. His usual routine. Keys in the bowl, briefcase on the hall table. He walked into the kitchen where I sat at the counter with my laptop closed in front of me. "Where's Angela?" he asked. "Safe. Sit down." "Caroline, I'm tired. Can this wait?" "No. Sit down, Richard." Something in my tone made him pause. He pulled out the stool across from me. "What's going on? You've been acting strange all week." I opened the laptop and turned it toward him. The video was cued to start. Interior of the Mercedes, Angela climbing in, Gerald following. "What is this?" Richard asked. "Watch." I pressed play. We sat in silence as the video showed Gerald moving closer to Angela, the car turning away from school, the partition rising, Gerald's hand on Angela's knee, her small voice saying, "No, please, I don't want to." Richard's face went pale. "Turn it off." "No, you need to see what your best friend did to our daughter." "Turn it off, Caroline. This has to be some kind of mistake. The camera angle." "There's no mistake. Keep watching." The video showed 18 minutes in that parking lot. I'd forwarded through most of it, only showed enough. Gerald straightening his tie afterward, handing Angela a tissue. Remember what happens to little girls who tell secrets. I stopped the video. Richard stared at the frozen image on screen. His hands gripped the edge of the counter, knuckles white. "This can't be real," he said finally. "Gerald wouldn't. He's known Angela since she was born. He loves her. He raped her. Twice a week for 5 months. In the car you bought, behind the tinted windows you insisted on for her safety." "No," Richard stood abruptly. "No, there's an explanation. Maybe he was, I don't know, helping her with something. Maybe she was upset and he was comforting her." "Comforting her?" My voice rose. "Did you see her face? Did you hear her saying no? The audio could be edited. Videos can be faked. Someone is trying to destroy Gerald, destroy our business. This is a setup." I pulled out the flash drive and the printed mileage logs, threw them across the counter at him. "Dash cam footage from your own car. Mileage reports you signed off on every month. Dr. Chen's medical examination from yesterday showing physical trauma. Angela's statement describing everything in detail. And a recording from this afternoon where Gerald admitted it, where he offered me money to stay quiet, where he threatened to destroy Angela's reputation if we went public." Richard picked up the mileage logs with shaking hands. His eyes scanned the numbers, the extra miles, the pattern, the dates. "Why didn't you come to me first?" His voice cracked. "Before going to doctors, before confronting Gerald, why didn't you tell me?" "I tried to tell you. 2 days ago, I said I had concerns about the school run. You called me paranoid. You said Gerald was family, that you trusted him with your life. You should have shown me this." He gestured at the laptop. "You should have made me see." Would you have watched? Or would you have found another excuse to defend him? I moved around the counter toward him. "Be honest, Richard. If I'd told you what Angela said without proof, would you have believed me, or would you have believed Gerald?" He didn't answer. The silence was answer enough. "That's what I thought," I said quietly. "Where is she?" Richard asked. "Where's Angela? I need to talk to her." "She's safe, away from this house, away from Gerald." "I need to see my daughter, Caroline." "Your daughter who you sent into a car with a predator twice a week? The daughter you were too busy to notice was being traumatized? That daughter?" He flinched like I'd hit him. "That's not fair." "None of this is fair. But you chose to trust Gerald over your own child's safety. You chose business over family. Every single Tuesday and Thursday, you arranged for him to be alone with Angela. You made it easy for him. I didn't know. His voice broke. God, Caroline, I didn't know. You didn't want to know. You were too invested. 15 years of partnership, 60 million in assets, your best friend, your brother. I grabbed the laptop and closed it. Well, your brother is a child rapist, and our daughter will carry that trauma for the rest of her life. Richard sat down heavily, put his head in his hands. What do we do now? We go to the police, we press charges, we make sure Gerald never touches another child. The business, he looked up. If this goes public, Reynolds Forest is finished. Everything we built. I don't care about the business. That business pays for this house, for Angela's school, for everything. His voice took on a desperate edge. If we go public, we lose everything. The scandal alone will destroy us. No one will want to work with me. We'll be pariahs. I stared at my husband, at this man I'd married 20 years ago. Are you actually suggesting we stay quiet to protect your reputation? I'm suggesting we think this through. Maybe there's a way to handle this privately. Make Gerald leave the business, move away, get him into therapy. We can protect Angela without destroying our entire lives. He threatened her. He manipulated her. He violated her body and her trust. And you want to handle it privately? I grabbed my purse from the counter. I'm taking Angela and we're leaving tonight. You can stay here with your business and your reputation and your precious partnership. But you don't get to see Angela until you decide what matters more, your daughter's justice or your company's bottom line. Caroline, wait, please. He reached for my arm, but I pulled away. I love Angela. I love you. I just need time to process this, to figure out. There's nothing to figure out. Gerald is a monster. You enabled him by being blind, and now you have to choose. I walked toward the door. When you're ready to be Angela's father instead of Gerald's business partner, call me. Until then, stay away from us. Where are you going? Somewhere he can't find us. Somewhere you can't convince me to sweep this under the rug for the sake of your empire. I left him sitting in the kitchen surrounded by evidence of his best friend's crimes. Evidence he'd signed off on every month without questioning why the mileage was wrong, without noticing his daughter was suffering, without seeing what was happening in the car he bought to keep her safe. The tinted windows that had hidden everything. I drove to Rose's house and collected Angela. She was asleep on the couch, her small body curled around her stuffed rabbit. I carried her to my car and buckled her in. She didn't wake up. My phone buzzed. Text from Richard. I'm sorry, you're right. I should have seen it. I should have protected her. Please come home so we can figure this out together. I deleted the message. Another text came through. I called my lawyer. We're pressing charges. I don't care about the business. I care about Angela. I wanted to believe him, wanted to think he'd chosen right. But the fact that it took me leaving for him to make that choice told me everything I needed to know about our marriage. It was already over. Had been, since the moment he'd dismissed my concerns and defended Gerald over our daughter's safety. I drove into the night with Angela sleeping beside me, heading toward a hotel on the other side of Phoenix. Somewhere anonymous. Somewhere we could breathe. My phone rang. Richard again. I let it go to voicemail. Whatever happened next, police reports, trials, the collapse of his business, the end of our marriage, none of it mattered as much as the little girl sleeping in my passenger seat. I'd failed to protect her before. I would not fail again.
We stayed at that hotel for 3 days. Angela and I in a room with 2 double beds and a view of the parking lot. Nothing fancy, just clean and anonymous and far enough from Paradise Valley that I could finally breathe. On the second day, I met with a lawyer Richard's text had mentioned. Not his lawyer, mine. A woman named Patricia who specialized in child abuse cases. She listened to everything, watched the videos, examined the evidence. You have a strong case, she said. The dashcam footage alone is damning. Combined with the medical records and your recording of his confession, this should result in a conviction. Should? His lawyers will fight. They always do. And Angela will have to testify. She looked at me with tired eyes that had seen too many cases like this. Are you prepared for that? For what they'll put her through? I thought of Angela back at the hotel, watching cartoons and eating room service pancakes. Still so small, still so broken. If it means he never touches another child, yes, we're prepared. Patricia nodded. Then let's destroy him.